Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Mhm.
So very excited to be joining Rachel Anderson today. Rachel, how are
Mhm.
you?
I'm pretty good. I'm still like recovering from my cold last week, so I feel like my voice is still scratchy.
Oh no,
My apologies there.
I feel like like this time of year, there's just no avoiding.
There's not.
It's
It's
just
so unfortunate.
oh goodness. Well, you look fabulous. You sound fabulous.
Oh, you're too sweet.
So what's new with you? How's everything been?
Um, it's been a busy week. I don't know, maybe we just hit February and like things are just like, let's go.
Yes, yes. Holy cow. I
How's
feel like
how's
I'm
your
like
day going?
it's been good. I feel like I'm like you. I feel like all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh my gosh, next month is already March," which is just wild. Like I hate winter time. I'm not secretive about that at all. I
Mhm.
hate winter. But it just makes me so excited to see like stores starting to post their spring stuff and I'm like, "Sun's coming. We're going to get more sunlight."
But I feel like we're in like that false winter. Like
Yes.
it's not going to be winter or it's not going to be spring as long as we all want it to be. We're going to
Yeah,
get like thrown something in a couple of weeks and it's just we'll go
totally.
through this a few times.
Totally. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's fun being in the Midwest, isn't it?
Mhm.
Oh goodness.
And then we all say, "Why do I still live here?" And I don't know, like nobody moves. We all
Yeah.
just still stay. We
Yeah.
complain about it, but we stay.
Yeah. I don't know why we do that. I feel like I keep saying like one day I'm gonna be like maybe when I'm retired, maybe I can be a snowbird and like just
Uh-huh.
out for winter and that
Yeah.
is a
It would
goal.
be
That is
nice.
a goal. I wanted to share two quick announcements. The first announcement is that the job fair is coming up next month, March 18th in Oak Brook. So there's going to be a ton of school districts who are seeking amazing EL bilingual dual language teachers for their program. So if you are seeking a job, that is, you need to be there. Oh my goodness. So
Or I mean, if
lots.
you want to switch districts, we don't tattle on who's there.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So it's always good to just see what's out there.
You never know.
You never know. And I was just talking to a group of folks because I feel like we are specialists. Like we can be choosy. Like people are
Yep.
seeking really great EL teachers, bilingual teachers, dual language teachers. Everybody needs us. So if you are unhappy where you are, go.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Be afraid
Don't
to
be
switch it up.
exactly. Mix it up, keep it
But
fresh.
also, like, I feel like some of our teachers need to inquire about like what are some of the other benefits you get beyond just your typical salary and insurance and retirement kind of things, but like what about courses being paid for or reimbursement or programs like that within districts, because a lot of people have extra funds that they're willing to share for coursework and
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. I love that you said that, Rachel, because I feel like, when you get to the end of the interview and whoever's interviewing says, like, what questions do you have for
Mhm.
us? Like, that's a great question
That
to ask.
is.
I always ask too, like a question about culture and climate, like for teachers, like how is morale? How would you define morale at this building? Or like what do you do to invest in teachers in this space? Like, because then you'll kind of get, I don't know, maybe a little bit of insight
Mhm.
into how it's going.
I like when teachers inquire too about like some of the extra events that like your school might host. Like, do you do a family reading night or BPAC type of events? How often do those occur? What's the expectation for attendance? Um, because I think that adds to the culture and climate of the whole community too.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that speaks to another piece too, which is like how do people treat our students in this school too? Like all hands in and like everybody supports everybody because all students are our students. Um, that's another thing to tap into because every school is a little different, every community is a little different.
You almost need to like be like, hi, can I have a few parents' phone numbers so I can just check if this school is the right for me?
Exactly. It's so funny because like we always have to give references, right? Like for us, like here's
Yeah,
why I'd be a great teacher here. But it's like, how do I know y'all are going to be great to me as the teacher here?
that is very true.
We should propose something here.
Yeah. But I don't know anymore. We're all in such just dire need for teachers that I'm sure you walk through the door and they're like, when can you come? Like,
Yeah.
when can you start? Tomorrow? Come on, we're ready.
That's so true. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Hiring and hiring was that was I thought it was going to be fun, and then I realized how stressful it was to find candidates and to explain the position. Like it was way harder than I thought it was ever going to be.
I can't imagine like leading the efforts for hiring. That's something
The
I'm
amount
never
of stress and anxiety that comes in, it's like the second week in August and you have 2 positions open and you're like freaking out of what am I going to do?
Oh gosh. Yeah, we're starting in 2 weeks.
And you're literally like begging people to interview. And
Oh,
then it's just I don't miss those days.
yes, 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 yes. So y'all make sure you register for the IRC job fair. So next month in Oak Brook, if you have like let's see. So this is I want to ask whoever's watching. If you have good like interview tips, or if you have like what are your go-to questions that you ask because you want to be supported in a district and a school.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some good questions that the community should know to ask so that we can we can make good informed
Yeah.
decisions about where we want to work.
And as the person who sat and, you know, been the interviewer, we love it when interviewees ask questions. Like
Mm.
anything, like, yeah, I would love to hear what people's go-tos are because I love it when people, when it gets done, say, oh, what questions do you have for us? And they actually want to engage in more conversation.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So send
Yeah.
them our way.
Yes, yes, yes. We'd love to see them. We'd love to hear them. So that is super exciting. So next month, all of that is taking place. And I wanted to share because last week I went live and I was talking about these little splat balls, and I shared that I was going to be doing a giveaway. So I wanted to share that the giveaway winner is Beatriz Martinez. So I will be reaching out through DMs, probably not tonight, probably tomorrow. I'll wait till tomorrow so that I can get your contact info and send you a whole pack of splat balls.
Fun.
So much fun, so much fun. So whoever is watching tonight, if you share this video either on Facebook or on Twitter, you will be tonight's giveaway winner. And tonight's giveaway winner is a Starbucks gift card, and that is we all could use some more Starbucks.
Carly, I just shared it, so I should win, right?
There we go. Exactly.
No, just kidding. The Starbucks is too far from my house.
Oh, that's right. Do you have any like coffee like places like right nearby?
I mean, there's a couple of local Casey's gas stations,
Okay.
but no, there's the Dunkin' isn't super far, but I'm not a Dunkin' fan, to be honest. I struggle to find what I like when I go there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't find my drink. And honestly, I would at that point I would rather go to McDonald's or the gas station and just get a regular, put a little syrup in it and call it a day.
Yes, yes, yes. I hear
But
you. I hear you.
not that I mean, and when I don't leave the house, then it's just the pot on the counter.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. I always do iced coffee year round. I never do hot coffee. I'm like one of
Mm.
those people. But I used to do Dunkin' all the time. And I feel like now I'm more of a Starbucks person, but I get like the big old like cold brew things from like the grocery store. So
Uh,
yeah. So that way it's like
yeah.
at home.
There was this great when I lived in Poplar Grove, there's this little coffee shop, ice cream parlor in Belvedere that I loved. I would walk in and I just wanted a cold brew, and she'd know exactly what I wanted. And I
Oh,
wanted the sugar-free caramel in it, and like she'd
yay.
just be like, hand it to me. And I was like, this is what I like. I don't
Yes.
have that. I don't have a place out here. So I do miss that.
Oh,
It was
goodness.
nice to like go on an adventure too. I feel like you've been stuck
Yes. Yes.
inside all day on the computer. It's like, let me run and grab a coffee just to get
Yes.
out and get some fresh air.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, so tonight we wanted to chat a little bit about looking at ways that students and teachers and administrators and leaders and really anybody inside of a school could look at language representation. So
Mm.
like looking, if you were to walk in any one space of your school and you looked at the walls or you just listened into conversations or lessons or whatever was happening, what languages would we see and hear and like feel? So Rachel, anything like off the bat that comes to your mind when you're thinking of that?
I feel like there's a lot to, well, in this role now, we get to go into districts and buildings, different ones than if you were just in your one school district and you were going to the same school every day. So it's nice to be able to experience different communities and their take on it. But I feel like I can tell a lot from just the school climate, like in the entryway. Like, what does the entryway to the school look like? What is that sign that's posted on the door that says, please press the buzzer before you can come to the office? Like, is that in multiple languages? And when I see some of those signs, I'm like, yes, like, great. We have this in English and Spanish. Like, I also automatically know right there that you're going to have a large Spanish speaking population in your school. But, just some of those visuals in the office, like, even the poster that says like welcome and like, you know 20 different languages is a big statement.
It's a big statement. And honestly, like I think people don't realize if you, especially folks who are monolingual, I don't think many of us realize how powerful that is just to have it there and present. Even if like the front office staff doesn't have like that language asset, like maybe they can't speak and read and write and do all the things in multiple languages, but the fact that the presence is there, I think that does it speaks volumes and it sends a really powerful message.
Yeah. And just some of the posters or little signs, the office is the first step for people. And I understand that, office staff is sometimes really, it's difficult to find representation of all the languages that your school speaks. But if you have a bilingual program or dual language program that's like pretty prominent in your school, you really need somebody at front that speaks that other language too.
Yes. Yes.
Because I mean, I've been there when parents walk in and they stand there and go, who's going to help me? And
Yes.
even the way that we communicate to our parents of, I might not be able to help you, but let me get somebody who is, having some other tools and things available can go a long way.
Yes, that's huge. And again, like we don't have to be multilingual. We don't have
No.
to know all the languages. But it's in the way we communicate, the way we are expressing like that idea of like, welcome. We're so glad you're
Yeah.
here. I always say like the front hand, like the front office is the handshake of the school. Like it's the first impression. So we really need to make sure that that first impression is so warm and so welcoming. And people always say like we smile and we all smile in love
Mhm.
language. So like there are things that we can do for sure. Like we can have, even if we again are not multilingual, we can have like a prepared list of common phrases. Just even if we don't say it out loud, if we can point to it, like, I'm so happy you're here. Give me one moment, or something like that. That way we can connect with a language resource. I remember when I was an EL teacher, my first year, no, I'm sorry, my second year of teaching, I was the only Spanish speaker in the building. And I would often get like pulled out of my
Mhm.
classroom. Like the front office staff would come down and say, we're going to wash your class. You're going to go down to the office and, interpret for
Yep.
as somebody who walked in. And that was, that was a common occurrence that happened a whole lot.
Yeah. And, I don't know if this is along the same lines, but I'm a big sucker for seeing kids work like in the front office too. Like, especially if I'm in an elementary school,
Mhm.
like I want to walk in there and like I want to see that like there's little kids present around here, some sort of artwork or representation on the walls. Um, sometimes those stock posters are easy to purchase, but you know, I want to see that the kids here contributed to the office just as much as they maybe do their classrooms.
Exactly. I love that you said that. I think that is so important. Like I want to see I want to see drawings, I want to see pictures, I want to see words that they wrote.
Yeah.
I love all of that.
I
And
want
again,
to see
like
the high
that's
schools too, though, right? Like I want to see it across the board, but
yeah.
like, I think sometimes you go into like a high school and your front entryway has the trophies and the plaques and like I like to see some of the other stuff too. Like, are we doing things around here?
Yes, exactly. Are we learning? Are we having any fun?
And then how does that? Because right, like you said, you don't have to speak other languages. You don't have to be bilingual to have that multilingual
Right.
mindset. And you know, that can be seen so visually around like the work that students do. Have they done projects that look at other cultures and other communities, or different research if they've done that goes kind of outside maybe what we did as kids.
Yes, yes. And different, exactly. Different themes, different ideas. I love that. And
And
again, like
letting their personalities shine through it.
yes, exactly. Like it speaks like what life is here in this
Mhm.
building. Like, what do we value? What are we wanting to like brag about and show off about our school and our community? I think that's so huge. And even it comes down to like, in a waiting room somewhere, sometimes, a family will come in and like they're here for a meeting or an appointment with somebody, and we have like books to read and things like that. Like that's an
Yep.
easily like thing that we can all kind of incorporate is like grab those parenting magazines in multiple languages, grab some books from your library in multiple languages, or have like student created books they're ready in multiple
Yes.
languages. And that way parents, as they're sitting there, they can go through those. And like that's like a one small thing with big impact.
That is such a big thing, and um at the one school I worked at, the secretaries every year would ask at the end of the year, like, are there any books that you're cleaning out of your classroom, like your classroom libraries that like maybe they've gotten like really worn down and like you just don't want them in students' hands anymore, or maybe your district bought a new reading curriculum and they told you you can do whatever you want with like the individual readers or something. And we'd say everybody donate a couple to the office so that they can keep that stack
Yeah,
replenished, because that's
that's huge.
little tiny moves like that make a big difference to a lot of these families. And even if you have English speaking only families coming in, that exposure is so important. And it just puts that vibe out there that like this is what my school community appreciates.
Yes, that we are a multilingual community. We value all of the languages. Maybe again, if we don't have a huge linguistically diverse population, like we still, this is something that we really treasure.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Mm.
And then when we walk beyond the front office, I always say this, and I wrote about it in my book too, is like many times schools will inadvertently create, like in an effort to get more representation on the like common areas of the school, like outside the gym or outside the cafeteria or in the cafeteria, whatever. They almost create like a diversity corner where all of that goes. It's just like one little spot in the school. And many times it's really like outside of the EL teacher's classroom, if they actually have a classroom. Many times it's like the converted closet, right? But many times, like they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have that one bulletin board, and that's gonna house all of our like diversity efforts.
Yeah.
Have you seen that too?
Yes. I feel like I can totally see what you're saying there. And yeah, it's a hard one. It's hard on our end to go in and say, this is a great start, but this isn't quite enough. And I remember a few years ago, I saw Dr. Jose Medina speak at a conference, and he was talking about that sociocultural competence piece that's really an integral part of dual language programs. And he was saying, having like an event during October for Hispanic Heritage Month, and then having, some study in February because it's Black History Month, like those are great moves, but they're not enough. We still need to push beyond that. We shouldn't just be celebrating our Hispanic students in October and our Black students in February. Like we need to transpire this throughout everything we do. And so those diversity bulletin boards, like we want to acknowledge that like somebody took the time to think about it. But now how can we think about integrating this into everything we put across the school?
Yes. So we want to continue to like praise the efforts. Like, yes, like somebody did make that intentional effort, which is great. And we want to continue that, but like, let's continue expanding. Let's go upward and outward and beyond, right? Like, I love the way you said that. And yes, we love Dr. Jose Medina. Oh my goodness. I could listen to him talk for hours and hours and hours. He's just fantastic. One thing that I have encouraged folks to do is just to do like, and no matter what capacity you serve in education in your school or in your district, is just do a quick little inventory of like, just like the walls in your space, like looking around, like number one, what is even on the walls? Like, do you have student work up on the walls? I know we've got anchor charts. Sometimes we do have like those character like development posters, SEL posters, things like that. But like, just do a quick little inventory for yourself. But you might also have the students do that inventory with you. I think that's a cool moment too, just to have students to be more aware of like, okay, well, what is the story we're telling here about what we do in this space? And then the students can also like, maybe that everybody co-constructs like what they want to see on the wall. I think that could be a really cool.
You mentioned those like character development type of things, and sometimes you see those as posters, and I'm always cognizant in purchasing those, whether they're clip art or like real like life pictures, that there's multiple ethnic and racial representation in that, and different abilities as well. But we have students right in front of us every day, so like we want to talk about helping kids remind, that we're going to sit crisscross applesauce on the carpet. Let's take a picture of like our class doing that. And that's what goes up on the wall. So they see them, like literally see the mirrors of themselves.
Yes. I love that. And the kids will love that too. Like they'll feel, oh, there's me. Yeah. And it's so cute. Anytime, like, especially for elementary, right? High schoolers probably won't say that, but but they might. But they, if they're on like a poster or a plaque for a sport, like they'll bring their family past that when they come in for an event. So, it's cool to have students light up and be so proud and like have those moments of like, that's me up there. That's, something I did, or that's my photo, kind of modeling the expectation or whatever it is. I think that's like, we can tap into that.
Well, and we have like, I feel like, we're in 2023. We have the digital and the print resources to make these things ourselves. We have so many skilled educators and just personnel, even probably, if there's not a teacher in your building that can help you with this, I am sure there's somebody within that school community that knows, like graphic design and stuff that like we can make our own posters. We don't have to try to search on the internet to find what does really good stuff have right now.
Totally. I remember like even 10, 15 years ago, it was hard. It was hard,
It
but like
was.
we don't have to be bound by that anymore. Like
No.
that frees us up. That gives us a lot more opportunity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me think about in my previous school district it was in the administrative office. It was actually in the HR director's office, and it was a framed old poster from like the late 80s, early 90s. It was old, and it talked about like, gosh, I can't even think of what the headline was. It was just school related, but it had kids on the playground, and it had a student who was Caucasian, one was African American, one was of Asian nationality, one was a Latino. There was a child in a wheelchair. There was like it just it felt so forced that they were like,
Wow.
let's put a white girl here and let's put the boy in the wheelchair. Like it just felt so forced. And so we actually kept that hanging in his office as more of the reminder that like we can do better than this. Like,
Yes. I think that's important to hold on to. Like again, like it's not visible to kids and
no,
stuff, but I think that is so important to just acknowledge, like, yeah, we can.
like,
we,
we're not going to say that these, you know, all of that diversity doesn't exist in our community.
right.
But like in one snapshot, are we going to get like every single different thing? And
Yes. Yep.
just an interest. If it was an interesting take on it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's another thing. It's like we were almost like trying too hard.
And it didn't feel authentic.
No, we want that's I think we need to really take a look at like who's at our school, who's in our community, and model our things off of them because they know what's best too.
Yes, exactly. When you were talking, something had come up to me, or something came to me, and I think it was from Dr. Jose Medina when he says like, if you have one bilingual class or one dual language class in your school, you are a dual language school. If you have one class in one school of your district, you are a dual language district. And I remember teaching in a program where the bilingual program was very, very new. And so there was still like holes in certain grade levels of classes. But it was like, oh, well, Carly's class, you guys speak Spanish. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like lots of other kids do too. And we also have Mongolian, and we also have Tagalog, and we also have, but it was interesting because when I started to talk about like, let's get some more language on the walls, people were like, well, we don't really need it. Or somebody would say like, well, Carly, like your kids are able to read though in English, right? I'm like, well, yes, they absolutely can read in English.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm giving them the Spanish because they lack something. It's to continue growing, right? And to demonstrate that we have a presence. Just because the English is there, like we can have multiple languages because we represent multiple languages. And I want those languages to be just as visible. So again, like if we're walking down the hallway and it says science, like why don't we have that in multiple languages? And again, students can generate those things and they can make it look however they want, but like it's a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
Just
even if because I've gotten that question, I only teach in English, and yes, I have a student whose family is Polish, but she doesn't read in Polish, so like I don't need to do anything. Like just because she might not be reading in it, well, she's a 5-year-old, she's probably not reading much of anything at this moment
right
yet.
Exactly.
None of our pre-K students are probably reading fluently, but we put a lot of visual representation on the walls.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And even too, like the languages that use different character systems, that kids can see that represented beyond just something that might look similar to English if it's written out.
Yes, yes. And I'm glad you said that because I went down a rabbit hole for like probably a good year and a half of downloading like cute fonts. And I would download all these cute fonts because I wanted to put things on the walls and like have it be cute and like Pinteresty. And like I totally fell down that down that hole. But when I started to download all those fonts, none of them had acentos and none of it. I was like, well, then this is not an inclusive font. And then later I went on to learn more about how problematic some of these fonts were to begin with because they were so hard to identify letters and stuff. So if it's a student who is, striving to identify letters and sound out words and all of these things, then those fonts are problematic to begin with.
It's funny you say that because my husband and I had a font conversation the other day because our 11-year-old was making some slides and he was getting real creative with his font selection. And my advice was, if you're going to show this to your whole class, we need to select something that's everybody can read, because I look at this and I'm getting very distracted and it's hard to see all of it. And then he was, he'd put an image as the background and then try to put words over it, but the colors, and I'm like, we gotta work, he was like, Rachel, just leave it, it's fine. But my husband and I got talking about fonts, and we're like, you remember when we used to, all you had to play with was like the notepad or the Word on your computer. So when you took your break from playing Minesweeper or Solitaire, you opened up or the paint, and you put some font and played around. And like, I remember playing with wingdings all the time. Like, who invented that? What's the purpose of it? Like, there's no use for it.
That's so funny. The wingdings. And do you remember when like we finally in my home got a PC, like a computer, was we thought we were like, this is like big time technology stuff. And then eventually word art became a thing.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the hours.
Oh, the hours just playing around. And now that's like, kids look at that and they're like, yeah, whatever, we can do this. And then now as an adult, I feel like I'm so, and as an adult who creates presentations on the regular, that like, I want nothing to do with crazy font anymore. If I find like a template and it's too complicated, I'm like, I'm out. Like, I can't go through this. Like, I don't want to change all of these. I need to make it like super legible.
Yes. Just keep it simple. Yeah. I feel like there are like two fonts that I go back and forth between, and that's really it. Like I do not deviate anymore. I used to, but yeah, not these days.
But I got worn out. I don't know if it was just all that typing in school of I don't want to do I never want to use Times New Roman anymore. That is like my least favorite.
Yes.
Because everything Times New Roman.
Yes.
12 font, double spaced.
Oh, yes.
Spaces after the period.
That's right.
What's that change? Who made that choice?
I don't know. I feel like all these rules have changed over the years, and I'm like, when did we start doing that? And like, how does everybody, was there an email that went out?
Yeah, like who the one day was like, you can just press the space bar once between each
once and call it a day. You're good.
Who's back there creating the MLA formatting and whose job is that?
Yeah, I don't know whoever created the MLA format and all of those things.
Without the Purdue OWL, I would never have gotten through grad school.
The Purdue OWL. Oh my goodness, you are taking me back right now.
Is that not a thing to people?
Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. I don't know. I should Google it.
Oh, that could probably be a whole series of like, how did we get by before?
Yes. Well, it's so funny. Like even talking about dictionaries, like dictionaries with kids. I love talking to younger kids about dictionaries. They're like, so it's a book, right? And you're like, yeah, it's the book. And we just put all of the words in a language, and we put it in the book in ABC order. And they're like, why? I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kids are like, wow,
The
that was
ease of just like, gosh, I remember that summer the summer I was abroad in Ecuador, and like I carried my dictionary everywhere. I carried
ah.
the dictionary, and then I carried the 501 Spanish like conjugated verbs book. And now it's like you travel and it's like it's right here. I just
Yeah,
pull up translate. I can hover over something and it's gonna tell me what it is. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy. It's so funny because
It's
all of
so
our
accessible.
yes, everything is so and our teachers used to say to us, like, you're not going to grow up and have a calculator in your pocket. Yes, look at us now.
Look at us
Look
now.
at us now. We sure do.
I've got a calculator and I use it.
And I use it. That's right. Oh my goodness. I love this.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
you can't really travel anymore without a translator. I mean, if you're going to a non-English speaking country.
that's right. That's right. Oh, I love it. Well, oh my goodness, it is already
Oh
7:40.
wow.
Oh, see, and Michelle is joining us today. She says she hated dictionaries in school. Gross. I am with you, Michelle. And I always say that too when I talk about like vocabulary and like supporting, students with learning vocabulary. We all like, I think all of us have a little like some memory of like, okay, time for vocabulary. And all of us would pull out a big old dictionary and like thump it on the
Yes.
table. And then we'd have to like, write the word 10 times and copy the definition
Yes.
and then cry whenever you see it. Like,
And then when it comes time to do your research project, you need to go to the library and grab the encyclopedia and having to then learn how to navigate that alphabetical order and then picking the right volume that you needed. And then even within that volume, going through that in the right order. And that's all the information you had on that topic.
yes, yes. Isn't it wild? Like we printed Google. We printed Google every year and we would compile them into these books.
I remember like my grandparents had a set of encyclopedias. So I'd go over to their house to like look through stuff. And
Yes.
oh, how crazy that now my stepson did his homework with Alexa not that long ago, and
Yes.
he wrote on it. This actually came. His mom was telling us this that he wrote. I'm sorry, I'm unable to complete that for you.
And he wrote that down.
He wrote that down because he didn't bring his book home to do his homework with. So he was just asking Alexa, and I'm like, the fact that we have somebody in our living room that can just tell me anything that I want at any time.
Yeah. Anything at all. Anything.
I use it all the time. Watching a TV show, who's that actor? What year were they born? What's the new movie that's come out? I can't help it.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's amazing. It's amazing how much information we have access to all the time. And no wonder kids can't like keep their phones at home. Like if I had a cell phone when I was in high school, forget it. I'd be on that thing all the time.
Yes. I say that regularly. I'm very glad I did not. I had a phone and it was for phone calls only, no text because that costs more money.
Oh yeah, no text.
And it was like emergencies only when you were in the car.
Yes.
And I had to share it with my mom. So it was just whoever was driving the farthest that day.
Yep.
Your phone.
Yep.
And now that I don't know, sometimes I just get so nervous too with social media and like it's great that we have access to this information, but then it scares me sometimes too.
Yes, it's a lot. It's like what do they say? With great responsibility comes great. Wait, no, hang on.
With great power comes great responsibility. Something like that. I know where you're going.
But that's
maybe our cue that like with great conversation comes jumbled brain.
I love that. I can't believe so it is already 7:41. So if you are catching this as a replay or you're tuning in live with us, we'd love to hear ideas from what you do in your school to just even look at language representation on the walls of your learning space, of your common areas, of your front office, all of those different things. We'd love to see those thoughts and
Yeah.
ideas in the comments.
Yeah, feel free to snap a picture and add that to the comments too. We'd love to see
Yes,
what
yes.
everybody's got working with.
Yes, that definitely helps the community that we have. I know all of us are always looking for more ideas and more inspiration, because this is for all of us, right? Because all of us are serving our multilingual learners. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was so much fun. I love hanging out with you.
Yes, I love this too.
This is so fun. This is so fun. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.